Hey kids, welcome to the first video of MyFlippedOutClass. I will be using these videos to help introduce many of the ideas, tools, and information we'll be discussing in class. As you watch, I encourage you to take notes, rewind if you missed something, or review these videos to prepare for quizzes, tests, and other assessments. If you have questions, please ask me in class or through email. Let's get to it. At the end of this video, you should be able to define and identify a primary source, secondary source, and historiography. History is an account of the past and its people, places, and events based upon historical evidence. These accounts may vary depending on the evidence used and the particular point of view of those writing about them. The types of evidence historians use in attempts to reconstruct the past include historical documents, such as letters, personal journals, or interviews with someone who was there when it happened, to name just a few. These types of evidence are referred to as primary sources. Primary sources are sources of information created by people with direct experience of a historical person, place, or event. Think about it like this. Who would you trust more to tell you about what it's like to live in Japan? Someone who has lived there her whole life, or your neighbor who has only visited Disney World? Secondary sources, such as articles or books written by historians, are created by gathering primary sources and writing a coherent narrative, a story, or perhaps more accurately, a theory or interpretation, that takes into account the evidence found in those primary sources. This process of studying, analyzing, and writing history is called historiography. Whenever you read history, it is important to keep in mind the role that evidence plays, and be willing and capable of analyzing the evidence to see if we agree that the evidence supports any broad claims made by the author. As we study American history, it's important to note that historical scholars disagree on many aspects of history. For example, were Western countries, such as Britain and America, able to gain prominence in world affairs, to be more influential, because of certain advantages outside of their control, such as geography, climate, and the role they played in developing certain ways of life, such as agriculture? Or was it because they created better social organizations, such as democratic or republican systems of government? These are questions you must ultimately answer for yourself. In this class, you will learn to use various critical thinking skills and research tools to help you answer those difficult and complicated questions. Let's review. A primary source is anything that can provide direct information of a person, place, or event. These can be letters, journals, personal interviews, even songs or objects from that time period. A secondary source takes information from primary sources in an attempt to make sense of a person, place, or event. Textbooks and scholarly articles are examples of secondary sources. Historiography is the process of studying, analyzing, and writing an account of the past. Finally, be sure to remember, historians disagree on many aspects of how we should think about and understand many parts of the past. So it is ultimately up to you to use your critical thinking skills and research tools to decide how to view the past. We will begin our study of the past in the next video, where we will discuss what is often referred to as the Age of Exploration, but other scholars have suggested should be called the Age of Exploitation.